Welcome back to Reds Fusion LFC, your ultimate hub for all things Liverpool. Today, we've got some massive updates coming straight from the AXA training center and the transfer front. Luis Diaz magic in training, but is he heading for the exit? Bayern are circling, and talks are heating up. Plus, a shock twist in the Isak saga, 3 key absentees in training, and Liverpool closing in on Hugo Ekitike. Richard Hughes has a big task ahead, and we've got it all covered right here. So smash that like, hit subscribe, and let's dive into the latest from the red side of Merseyside. Liverpool have given themselves transfer problem that Richard Hughes must now fix. Liverpool are at present in danger of going into the new season with only 3 recognised centre-backs, and Premier League clock is ticking right back. Tick. Attacking midfielder. Tick. Left back. Tick. Goalkeeper. Well, one was sorted already, but a few more ticks was no bother. Striker. In progress.to say the Reds have been busy in the market this summer would be an understatement. Their outlay of almost £200 million, not counting the £70m, plus that will be required to take Hugo Ekitike from Eintracht Frankfurt, nor the £29 million agreed for Georgi Mamardashvili last year, already the club's highest in a single transfer window. There is, though, one area of the team for which there hasn't been a permanent new addition in more than 4 years. And Hughes and his recruitment colleagues will almost certainly have no option but to address the matter sooner rather than later, with the start of the Premier League season now less than a month away. Arne Slot's insistence there are 2 senior options for every position highlights Liverpool are now one short of the desired 4 recognised centre-back alternatives. Liverpool permitting the £35 million sale of Jarell Quansah to Bayer Leverkusen raised more than a few eyebrows regardless of whether it left the squad, at least temporarily, down on numbers. Still only 22 with huge potential and significant experience under his belt while already called up to the England senior squad, Quansah would arguably fit the profile of a centre-back Fenway Sports Group would ideally want Liverpool to sign. Slot, though, sanctioned the departure based on having worked with the player for a full season in which Quansah started only 4 Premier League games. Sometimes players, no matter their talent, aren't quite the right fit for a team. It leaves Virgil van Dijk, Ibrahima Konate and Joe Gomez as the remaining centre-backs in Liverpool's first-team squad. And the last time the Reds went into a season with just 3 central defensive options was after their most recent previous title triumph in 2020. We all know what happened next. True, Wataru Endo spent much of his earlier career in the position. But the Japan international has rarely been used in defense since moving to Anfield 2 years ago. And there are obvious question marks over some of those who remain. Gomez struggled with injury for large parts of last season, with his appearance in the friendly win at Preston North End last Sunday his first outing since early February. While Van Dijk has penned a new 2-year deal, Konate has yet to thrash out a fresh agreement with Liverpool, having entered the final 12 months of his current contract. With Spanish sources claiming Real Madrid are ready to take him on a free transfer next year, this summer may represent the last opportunity for Liverpool to gain significant money for Konate. 5 things spotted in Liverpool training including Luis Diaz magic and 3 players missing. The latest from Kirkby as Liverpool trains ahead of the pre-season tour in Asia. The majority of Arne Slot's squad were present, bar 3 notable exceptions, while there was a fresh hint of the Reds' centre-back plans. Liverpool trained on Friday ahead of its departure this weekend on a pre-season tour of Asia, when preparations for the new season will really get underway. Matches against AC Milan in Hong Kong and Yokohama in Japan will help get the players up to match speed ahead of the big Premier League kickoff in 4 weeks' time. For now, the Liverpool squad continues to put in the hard yards at Kirkby, with the latest footage from Friday's session showing the team looking slick and sharp at this early stage of the summer. The majority of the squad was in attendance on Friday, and the club's behind-the-scenes video shows the players arriving, undergoing some gym work, and working on some close control drills before heading outside and receiving instructions from Arne Slot. The session finished with a small-sided game. We've picked out 5 notable things from training. Who trained? The burning question, particularly at this stage of the summer window. Well, Luis Diaz, Ben Doak, Lucas Stevenson, and Kostas Tsimikas were all involved despite speculation about their respective futures. But the pictures and videos didn't show Alexis Mac Allister, Dominic Szoboszlai or Federico Chiesa, although their absence from the media footage doesn't necessarily mean they weren't at Kirkby, or that they've suffered a knock. Harvey Elliott and Tyler Morton, who have been given an extended leave following the Under-21 European Championships earlier this summer, also weren't in attendance. Full group: Alisson, Mamardashvili, Woodman, Pesci, Bradley, Frimpong, Van Dijk, Konate, Gomez, Robertson, Tsimikas, Kirkes, Endo, Stevenson, Gravenberch, Nyoni, Jones, Doak, Wirtz, Nunez, Diaz, Gakpo, Gumaha. All eyes on Diaz. The Colombian might be dominating the headlines for his reported desire to leave Liverpool, but if that is the case, it certainly hasn't impacted his popularity in the dressing room. The winger was seen laughing with players throughout the video, with Cody Gakpo taking a camera to film a close-up shot of Diaz at one stage. Liverpool's number 7 also had the biggest contribution in the small-sided game, firing in the winner at the end, which resulted in Connor Bradley, Curtis Jones and Rio Ngumaha rushing to celebrate with the 28-year-old. Sharp shooting. That left-footed strike from a narrow angle was one of several impressive efforts during the session. Diaz's may have been the pick of the bunch, but Gakpo netted 3 impressive goals, while Darwin Nunez also demonstrated the sort of accurate finishing that fans haven't always witnessed. Liverpool schedule Luis Diaz talks as Bayern Munich transfer hinges on one deal. Bayern Munich are continuing their pursuit of Liverpool winger Luis Diaz and are confident of landing the Colombia star, despite seeing a first offer of £58 million rejected. Bayern Munich are confident of signing Luis Diaz, despite Liverpool rejecting their first offer for the winger. The Reds turned down an offer of £58.6 million for Diaz on Tuesday, but no, the Colombia international wants to leave the club. Liverpool didn't even consider Bayern's opening offer and have been firm in their stance that they would only sell Diaz for huge money, potentially £86 million. He contributed 17 goals and 8 assists in 50 appearances across all competitions to help Liverpool end the 2024-25 campaign with the Premier League trophy, and Arne Slot wants to keep him. The club have been busy in the summer transfer window, signing Florian Wirtz, Jeremy Frimpong and Milos Kerkez to strengthen their squad. They are now chasing Hugo Ekitike and have already agreed terms for the Eintracht Frankfurt striker. Frankfurt rejected a bid of £70 million from Newcastle for Ekitike, but Liverpool believe they can sign him for a fee slightly higher than that because the Frenchman prefers a move to Anfield. But that transfer could see Diaz depart for Bayern, according to reports in Germany. Chelsea fans in meltdown as club announced star's free transfer to Liverpool. Former Liverpool star strongly warns against Bayern Munich signing Luis Diaz. Bild reports that Bayern have not been deterred by their initial bid being rejected and have managed to schedule a meeting with Liverpool chiefs to further discuss the move. Diaz has already agreed terms with Bayern and is keen to follow in the footsteps of Sadio Mane and move on 2 years before his contract is due to expire. Bayern reportedly believe that, once Ekitike is through the door, Liverpool will be forced to balance the books by selling Diaz. Slot's side have already spent over £180 million on transfers this summer and have not offset that through sales, with Jarell Quansah, Caoimhin Kelleher, Trent Alexander-Arnold and Nat Phillips not netting them much. It is understood that Diaz is frustrated by Liverpool's stance over a new contract for him. He remains on the same contract that he signed when arriving from Porto in January 2022 for an initial £37.5 million and is therefore paid a lot less than stars like Mohamed Salah and Virgil van Dijk, who were handed new deals earlier this year. He has 41 goals and 23 assists in 148 games across all competitions for Liverpool and clearly believes he is not valued properly at Anfield. After interest from Barcelona and Saudi Arabia, Bayern have emerged as a viable option for him. Alexander Isak sees shock new landing spot emerge as Liverpool closes in on Hugo Ekitike. Liverpool looks to have moved on swiftly from Alexander Isak links, pivoting to Hugo Ekitike. But that does not necessarily mean that the Swede will stay put. Liverpool has played the Alexander Isak situation about right. It would have been wrong not to ask the question of Newcastle, but having received a firm answer, it has not wasted its summer on a very remote possibility. There is little doubt that Isak is the best around in the number 9 role at present. It's an area where the Reds need to strengthen, and the budget is there, so Richard Hughes had to make inquiries. However, if Newcastle is bluffing with its not-for-sale stance, then it is a fully committed bluff. In truth, this always looked like the most likely outcome, even if everyone got caught up in Isak fever when the story first broke. The average supporter might not yet recognize Newcastle as among the elite, but it is ultimately now a Champions League club with effectively unlimited financial backing. Why would it sell its best player? The main plausible answer is FFP/PSR pressures, but the return to Europe's top table effectively extinguished any of those worries. Of course, Newcastle could have banished all risk of those fears for years to come with a bumper Isak sale, but it would also have had to sacrifice its near-term sporting ambitions. The motivation to sell is simply not there. Perhaps severe pressure from Isak himself might have altered the equation, but the return to the Champions League will have helped on that front as well. And even if he had decided to agitate for a move, Newcastle would still have held all the cards, with 3 years to run on his contract. Time will tell whether Newcastle's decision is the right one, given that keeping Isak has ended its hopes of signing Ekitike. Liverpool swiftly switched its attention to the Magpies' number 1 target. In the future, the Reds may end up thinking they got the better deal. But for now, selling Isak goes against all of the ambitions of the Saudi-backed project at St. James Park. So with Liverpool moving on, the Swede is bound to stay put, right? Well, probably. But after Liverpool tested the waters, another suitor is now emerging. According to Gianluca Di Marzio, Saudi Arabian side Al Hilal holds a genuine interest in Isak. The fact that both sides are owned by the Public Investment Fund, PIF, is not expected to pose any issues. From an optics perspective, the shared ownership might even make this one of the few destinations for Isak that may be palatable to the Newcastle hierarchy. It would shuttle the striker away from anywhere he would be capable of hurting his old side, while the Saudi project as a whole would not lose any prestige. These are the murky waters you end up getting into with multi-club models and state ownership. It would certainly not be popular with Newcastle supporters.